If your last name is on this list, your ancestor didn't just live in Ireland, they fought for it, as warriors, as chieftains, as soldiers in the service of kings whose names appear in manuscripts that survived centuries of fire, conquest, and deliberate erasure. These 10 rare Irish surnames appear in Gaelic annals, royal genealogies, and the military records of kingdoms that predated England itself by 1,000 years. And most of the families who carry them today have no idea what those names once meant on an Irish battlefield. Stay until number 1, because that surname belongs to a dynasty that produced the only man ever recognized as High King of all Ireland by every kingdom on the island simultaneously, and his bloodline is still traceable today. Number 10, Ó Ceallaigh, in its anglicized form, Ó Ceallaigh, from the Gaelic Ceallaigh, meaning war, or more specifically the act of contention, of strife, of fighting. The Uí Main, the ancient kingdom of Connacht in Western Ireland, was the territory of the Ó Ceallaigh dynasty, kings and chieftains who ruled this region for centuries before and after the Norman invasion of 1169. The Ó Ceallaigh name appears repeatedly in the annals of Connacht, one of the most detailed medieval Irish chronicles, recording their battles, their alliances, and their resistance to Norman encroachment. Unlike many Gaelic dynasties that were absorbed or eliminated by Norman power after 1169, the Ó Ceallaigh family maintained their territorial authority in Connacht for an extraordinary length of time, not fully displaced until the systematic land confiscations of the 16th and 17th centuries. If your name is Kelly or O'Kelly, your bloodline governed a kingdom in Western Ireland for over 1,000 years. The next surname sounds simple in its anglicized form. But pull it back into Gaelic, and you find a name that meant something specific in the Irish warrior tradition, a quality so valued by Irish kings that men who embodied it were given authority over entire provinces. Number 9, Ó Briain. Ó Briain, descendants of Briain, specifically Briain Boru, the High King of Ireland, who defeated the Viking forces at the Battle of Clontarf in 1014, the single most celebrated military victory in Irish history. Briain Boru did not just win a battle. He was the first and only man to unite the Irish kingdoms sufficiently to be recognized universally as Ard Rí, High King, not through tradition or lineage alone, but through a combination of military conquest, diplomatic skill, and political legitimacy that no Irish ruler before or after him fully replicated. He died at Clontarf on the day of his greatest victory, killed in his tent after the battle was won. The Ó Briain dynasty that descended from him ruled Munster as kings for centuries afterward, and their name became one of the most widespread in Ireland, carried by families who took pride in connection to the man who drove the Vikings from Irish shores. If your name is O'Brien or Brian, your bloodline traces, at least in name, to the greatest military and political leader Ireland ever produced. Number 8 carries the name of a dynasty that controlled the most strategically valuable territory in all of medieval Ireland. The narrow land passage between Ulster and Connacht that every army invading from the north had to cross. Control it, and you controlled the island. Number 8, Ó Ruairc. From the Norse personal name Hrothrekr, yes, Norse, carried into Ireland during the Viking Age and adopted so completely into Gaelic culture that within 2 generations it was indistinguishable from a native Irish name. The Ó Ruairc dynasty ruled Briain, the kingdom straddling what is now counties Leitrim and Cavan, for centuries. Tiernan O'Rourke, king of Briain in the 12th century, holds a complex place in Irish history. It was the abduction of his wife Derbfor Gael by Diarmait Mac Suibhne, king of Leinster, that set in motion the chain of events leading to the Norman invasion of 1169, one of the most consequential moments in Irish history. Whether O'Rourke or Mac Suibhne bears the greater responsibility for what followed is a debate Irish historians have conducted for 8 centuries. If your name is O'Rourke, your bloodline governed a strategically critical Irish kingdom, and your ancestors' personal grievance may have changed the entire course of Irish history. Before we continue, if you're finding this useful, subscribe to Origins Decoded. Every week we uncover the history hidden inside the names people carry without knowing what they mean. Hit subscribe, and the next video will already be waiting for you. Number 7, is a name that the English crown specifically targeted for elimination. A family whose military resistance to colonization was so sustained and so effective that suppressing them became an explicit policy objective of the Tudor administration. Number 7, Ó Néill, from the Gaelic Néill, meaning champion or possibly passionate, intense. The Ó Néill dynasty was the dominant power in Ulster for over 1,000 years. Their lineage traced back to the legendary Néill of the Nine Hostages, the 5th century High King, whose sons spread across the north of Ireland, establishing kingdoms that persisted well into the early modern period. Hugh O'Neill, the Earl of Tyrone, led the 9 Years' War from 1593 to 1603, the most serious military challenge to English rule in Ireland since the Norman invasion. His forces defeated an English army at the Battle of the Yellow Ford in 1598, the single largest defeat of English forces in Irish history. The flight of the Earls in 1607, when O'Neill and O'Donnell fled Ireland permanently following their final defeat, is considered one of the most devastating moments in Gaelic Irish history, the end of the old Gaelic order. If your name is O'Neill, your bloodline comes from the most powerful dynasty in Ulster history, a family that fought English colonization for 4 centuries before finally losing the land they had held for a millennium. Number 6 carries a name from the most westerly kingdom in Ireland, the last territory the Normans reached, the last region where Gaelic culture survived most intact, and the place where the most ancient Irish surnames have been preserved longest. Number 6. Ó Flaithearta. From the Gaelic Flaithearta, meaning bright ruler or ruler of valor. The Ó Flaithearta dynasty controlled Connacht, Western Connacht, the territory west of Lough Corrib in what is now County Galway, for centuries. Their territory was so remote and so difficult to access that Norman colonization barely penetrated it, leaving the Ó Flaitheartas as one of the last substantially autonomous Gaelic dynasties in Ireland. The medieval town of Galway actually inscribed a prayer above its western gate that read, "From the ferocious Ó Flaitheartas, good Lord deliver us," a testament to the family's reputation as aggressive defenders of their western territory against anyone who entered it uninvited. Grace O'Malley, the famous 16th century pirate queen of Connacht, was married into the O'Flaherty family by her first marriage. If your name is O'Flaherty, your bloodline governed the wild west of Ireland and earned a reputation fierce enough to be carved in stone above a city gate. Number 5 is the name of a family that served not as kings, but as something arguably more powerful in Gaelic Ireland, the hereditary keepers of knowledge, law, and history, whose words could make or break a king's legitimacy. Number 5, Ó Dálaigh, Ó Dálaigh. From the Gaelic Dálaigh, meaning one who frequents assemblies, one who participates in councils. The Ó Dálaigh family were hereditary poets and bards, the Fili, the highest class of Irish poets whose role combined what we would today separate into the functions of historian, lawyer, diplomat, and propagandist. In Gaelic Ireland, a poet's praise could elevate a king's reputation across the entire island. A poet's satire could destroy it. The Fili held such power that harming one was considered a serious crime, and even kings treated them with extreme caution. The Ó Dálaigh family produced generations of poets who served the great Gaelic dynasties, their work preserved in manuscripts that represent some of the oldest vernacular literature in Europe. If your name is O'Daly, your bloodline did not carry swords. They carried something more dangerous in the Gaelic world, the power to determine how history remembered every king who ever lived. Number 4 goes directly to the battlefield. A name connected to the most feared fighting force in medieval Irish warfare. Warriors whose specific military tradition was so distinctive that it survived the Norman invasion, survived the Tudor conquest, and was still being recorded by English observers in the 16th century. Number 4, Mac Suibhne. From the Norse Svein, a young man, a boy, a warrior. Another Viking name absorbed so completely into Gaelic culture that it became the name of one of Ireland's most feared military dynasties. The MacSweeneys were gallowglass, Scottish Gaelic mercenary warriors originally from the Western Isles of Scotland, who came to Ireland in the 13th century and were retained as elite heavy infantry by Ulster and Connacht kings. The gallowglass fought with the spar, a long-handled axe, wore mail armor at a time when most Irish warriors did not, and held their ground in battle with a disciplined ferocity that English observers consistently described as exceptional. Three branches of the MacSweeney family, MacSweeney Banner, MacSweeney Fanad, and MacSweeney na Dtuath, each controlled separate territories in Ulster and served as hereditary military commanders to the O'Donnell kings of Tyrconnell. If your name is MacSweeney, your bloodline produced the professional soldiers that Irish kings paid specifically because no one else fought quite like them. Number 3 carries the name of a dynasty that controlled access to the most sacred site in all of Ireland and used that control to wield a form of political and spiritual authority that no purely military power could match or replace. Number 3, Ó Maoilalaidh, Ó Maoilalaidh, from the Gaelic Maol, meaning devotee or tonsured one, referring to religious dedication, combined with a personal name. The Ó Maoilalaidh dynasty were kings of Firtel, a territory in what is now County Offaly in the Irish Midlands, controlling a region of strategic importance between the kingdoms of Leinster and Connacht. But their most significant role was as hereditary keepers and protectors of the monastery at Clonmacnoise, one of the most important centers of learning and Christian scholarship in early medieval Europe, described by contemporary scholars as a place where Ireland's intellectual tradition was preserved through centuries of Viking raids and political instability. The annals record the Ó Maoilalaidh kings defending Clonmacnoise against Viking attacks, against rival Irish kingdoms, and later against Norman encroachment. If your name is Ó Maoilalaidh, your bloodline protected the monastery where Ireland's oldest books were written. Number 2 belongs to a family whose territory covered the richest agricultural land in Ireland, and whose dynasty's fall to Norman conquest in the 12th century triggered a political and military crisis that reshaped the entire island. Number 2, Mac Muirchada, MacMurrough. From the Gaelic Muirchad, sea warrior, sea battler. The Mac Muirchada dynasty were kings of Leinster, the southeastern province of Ireland, for centuries before the Norman invasion. Diarmait Mac Muirchada, King of Leinster, was expelled from Ireland by the High King Ruaidhri Ua Conchobar in 1166, the result of a complex web of political rivalries, personal grievances, and territorial disputes. Rather than accept exile, Diarmait did something no Irish king had done before. He travelled to England and Wales, sought the permission of King Henry II to recruit Norman and Welsh mercenaries, and returned to Ireland with a force that included Richard de Clare, Strongbow, one of the most effective military commanders in the Norman world. What followed was the Norman invasion of 1169, which changed Ireland permanently. If your name is MacMurrough or Kavanagh, the name adopted by the dynasty's descendants, your bloodline set in motion the events that began 7 centuries of English involvement in Ireland. And now number 1. This surname belongs to a dynasty so ancient that its genealogy was traced by medieval Irish scholars back to the first kings of Ireland in the mythological age. Its most famous bearer was recognized as High King by universal consent, and genetic studies conducted in the 21st century have confirmed that his Y chromosome lineage survives today in an estimated 3 million men across the world. Number 1, Ó Briain, or more specifically, Ní Briain, for a detail almost no one discusses. But let us speak of the name that contains this story in its oldest form, Ó Néill, specifically the northern branch, and the figure of Néill of the 9 hostages, the 5th century High King from whom both the O'Neill dynasty and dozens of connected surname lineages descend. Genetic analysis published in 2006 identified a specific Y chromosome haplotype carried by approximately 1 in 12 Irish men and concentrated most heavily in the northwest of Ireland, exactly where Niall's kingdom was centered. This lineage, carried through the male line for over 1,500 years, represents one of the largest known genetic dynasties in human history. 3 million men worldwide carry this specific genetic signature. The surnames associated with it, O'Neill, O'Donnell, O'Gallagher, O'Doherty, and dozens more, all point back to a single man whose military and political power was so absolute that his descendants populated an entire island. If your surname is on this list, and if you are an Irishman, there is a measurable, scientifically confirmed probability that you are descended from the most powerful king Ireland ever produced. Not mythology, genetics. 10 surnames, 10 dynasties. 10 corridors leading back through annals written by candlelight in stone monasteries, through battles fought with axe and spear on Irish hillsides, through royal courts where poets held more power than soldiers, and through the systematic destruction of a civilization that refused, across centuries of pressure, to completely disappear. Your name is not just Irish. It is a kingdom. It is a king. It is a lineage that survived everything the world threw at it and arrived somehow at the present moment, still recognizable, still carrying its history inside it. Drop your surname in the comments. Tell me which Irish kingdom your family came from. And if you know the story your family carried out of Ireland, whether by ship during the famine, or by force during the plantations, or by choice in search of something better, say it, because those stories are the continuation of everything on this list. If you made it to the end of this video, subscribe to Origins Decoded. Every week, another name, another bloodline, another history that nobody told you was yours.